Hey guys, this is Locke. In this video, I'm going to suggest something for some players. It might appeal to them, it might not appeal to others. The players that it's more likely to appeal for is free-to-play players and players that are more interested in PvE content than PvP content. Um, and even still, not everyone will be able to take advantage of what I'm saying, but hopefully some of the people that are listening can use this tactic, and I hope it helps you out. So, first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the tactic. Then I'm going to talk about why it'll be easier for you to do it than doing something else. Um, anyway, before I get more ambiguous, let me just talk about it. So, what I'm talking about is doing the 2-star exploration instead of the 3-star exploration. There are a number of reasons for this. One of the reasons is because of the accessories that it drops. It's more geared towards the players that I talked about earlier. And the second reason is because it's a lot easier to do if you do it the way I'm telling you than doing the 3-star stage. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the accessories that it drops and say why it might appeal to you. So this accessory is very good for increasing your damage output. It basically increases your attack damage drastically, and then also further gives you a buff that increases your attack. So if you're using you do a basic attack and then you use a skill, that plus 30% attack with the three-piece set is going to apply to your skill. So as you can see, this is going to drastically improve the damage that you do. So this is a very good set for increasing your damage, and it's very good for PvE. You might already be at say tier 10s in all your dungeons and raids, but tier 11 to 15 are coming, and they're going to be significantly harder. And they're also further chapters being released, so you'll probably need to improve your PvE team as you go on too. Like, just because you can do everything right now doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. So this is a good accessory to use for PvE. Um, and let's look at chapter 4 as well. This accessory is also very good. It decreases your skill cooldown every time you attack. You can put this on healers. You can put this on units like Cade or Ian to um, to to bring down their cooldown faster. Units like Ian and Cade and there are a couple more. They have skills that decrease the amount of damage that the boss does, and if you can use this skill to bring down their cooldowns a lot, you can basically always apply these debuffs onto the boss. It's kind of the tactic that I'm using with Cade anyway. So you will be able to hit those caps easier with accessories like this. So again, it's very useful for PvE. The third accessory, this one, is actually a PvP accessory, but it still has uses, and I'll talk more about it later on as we get along. But it's not a bad accessory at all, and especially with units like Spike, it pairs pretty well with them. Um, so these are the three accessories that can drop from the 2-star stage, and as I mentioned, this is if you are more into PvE content, these accessories probably are more useful to you than the PvP accessories like Revive and Immortal, because those are typically not for PvE, they're more for PvP arena. And I also mentioned that this is also probably more appealing for free-to-play players. The reason I say that is because if you're a free-to-play player, you probably have trouble advancing in arena. You're meeting players that have legendary pets or legendary plus units, or multiple accessories that are like L plus accessories and revive accessories and so on and so on. And sure, you can probably benefit from having a revive accessory yourself, but just having one revive accessory is probably not going to make such a huge difference to you. You're still going to, meet a lot of roadblocks, and it's probably still going to be very hard for you to advance. So, instead of just being able to advance a little bit more in arena by farming a revive accessory, maybe you can instead focus on farming the PvE accessories and being able to improve significantly when content gets released, and being able to hit the tier 10 raids and tier 10 dungeons and stuff like that. Maybe that's more appealing to you as a free-to-play player than advancing just a little bit in arena. So that's the reason why I think what I'm about, this tactic is more useful for those type of players. And I'm doing the very hard, field exploration, but you don't have to. You can do the hard as well. But whatever I'm saying for very hard, if you are say 30k or 40k CP below me, you can apply these same tactics to the hard stage as well. Now, if you look at my previous video, I talked about a tactic that I was using with the 3-star exploration, and I was basically using Cade with 2 healers and 1 DPS, and that was basically the only formation that I can do it with. I really needed 2 healers, even with Cade's awesome skill that decreases the damage that the boss does. I still needed 2 healers, otherwise it just does too much damage to me. However, I find that's not the case with the 2-star stage, but you have to do it exactly like I'm telling you to do it. You can't, you can't just hit run and then go away for an hour because that's not going to work. So I'll explain what I mean. In this stage, in the 2-star stage, there are two types of monsters that you're facing. The first one is the Scorpion, and the second one is the Succubus. The Scorpion is actually really, really easy to beat. I can beat it like this with just one healer. I'm using Cade again because I really like his skill. His skill is, this one. In case you haven't seen the previous video, this is the skill that basically lets me take advantage of this. It basically decreases the target's damage that it's dealing to me by 50% for 20 seconds, and I brought the cooldown down to 20 seconds using cooldown gear. If you aren't familiar with how to get the cooldown down to 20 seconds, please go and watch the previous video before this one, because in that one I explain in detail how I do it, and I don't want to explain again. But if you don't have Cade, you can also use other units that have similar skills, like Ian, for example. Ian has a similar skill as well. It doesn't decrease it as much as Cade's does. It's only 37%, but if you don't have Cade, this is another alternative that could work. And there's also another guy, a rare unit. Where did he go? This guy, Theon. He also has a skill like that too. This one, which also again decreases the damage dealt, and it lasts for 20 seconds. So you can use any of these three units to kind of employ this tactic. And then I'm basically using two damage dealers. I mean, I'm losing a level 50 Rachel. You don't need to have a level 50 Rachel, and most probably don't have a level 50 Rachel, but you can use your two best damage dealers. It could be like a level 40 Miss Velvet and a level 40 Delins, or a level 40 Miss Velvet and then a Chris to increase Miss Velvet's damage, whatever it is, right? And you can still also use a second healer as well. You can use, if you're still having trouble with this stage because you're not doing enough damage, you can still use Cade plus, one damage dealer and two healers. But this stage I find is so much easier, especially the Scorpion is so much easier than dealing with the Minotaur from not the Minotaur, whatever the monster is. I think it's a Gorgon from the 3-star stage. The key is, though, it's the Scorpion that's easy to deal with. The next monster that I'm going to fight is the Succubus, and the Succubus is actually really difficult to deal with. The reason she's difficult is because she applies a defense debuff, and then she does like 3 different AoE hits, and it can often like one-shot my Karen right away. So it makes it, it makes it a really difficult fight. So what I end up doing is, I set this up, and then I just do something else, like I'm working or I'm watching watching TV or something, and it only takes me about 5 minutes to kill the Scorpion. So after 5 minutes, I come and I reset the stage. So basically, I click this button here, which tells me, do you want to return? I say yes. So I'm gonna let the Scorpion be dead, and then I'm gonna show you what I mean. So once the Scorpion is killed, and then I start to fight the Succubus again, I'm gonna click this, and I'm gonna exit the stage, and then I'm gonna reset. My progress is not gonna be reset. I'm still gonna be at 1 out of 2 enemies, but I get to fight the Scorpion again. So I can basically keep redoing this like every 4 or 5 minutes, and it's so much easier for me to do this than to fight the 3-star stage, because each 3-star monsters, because I'm only using 1 DPS, it takes me like almost 10 minutes per monster. This one takes me like less than 4 minutes, right? So it's so much faster to do, and the teams that I'm using for both are about the same amount of CP. So what I do now is I basically go in, I click this, say okay, I get out of the stage, and then I go right back in, and you will see that I pick up exactly where I left off, but the monster is reset. See, I'm fighting the Scorpion again, which is a lot easier than the Succubus. So I've basically been doing this, and it has kind of paid off, actually. Like, I actually did get this necklace today, which is really nice. So there you go. I've only been doing it today with this team, and it already paid off for me. So hopefully it pays off for you as well. Again, this is not going to work for everyone. Somebody got a Radiant Commander Selm. Congrats, Anthony. This is not going to work for everyone because you might not be able to play that way. Like maybe the way that you play is you have to leave it on for an hour and then you have to do something and then you come back. Maybe that's just the way you can commit. And if that's you, then unfortunately this is probably going to be a little bit harder for you to do because the succubus I find is quite difficult to fight. Because again, as I mentioned, like she does a defense debuff and then she does three different AoEs in all directions, and I find it's really tough. So if you are able to play like this, like you don't have to come back every 5 minutes. Even if I come back like once every 10 minutes or something, right? Like most likely, what will happen is I will have beaten the scorpion, and then I would have died to the succubus, and then when I come back in to the stage a second time, I will have already defeat nearby enemy 1 out of 2 progress. And this percentage at the bottom also doesn't reset the boss encounter chance. It's also at whatever I left it off. So I basically don't lose any progress at all. The only thing I'm doing is resetting the monster to be the scorpion instead of the succubi, because the succubi is a lot more difficult to deal with. Um, Eventually I've gotten this meter to like say 20% or 30% and a boss spawns. And usually when that happens, I have to manually kill the boss because it's too difficult. And I think the reward is usually worth it to manually do the boss. But like you might be a person that can take advantage of this. Because if you are to check your phone frequently, and frequently doesn't mean like every 20 seconds or 30 seconds, you're still kind of passively playing, right? Like all you have to do is click exit and then enter again, uh like every 5 minutes or something, or however long it takes you to kill this boss. uh so you could play it that way. You can play it as like a passive type game, sort of, but you have to you can't just let it run. Like you have to come back every few minutes to reset it. And it might work for some people, it might not. But this is a suggestion. It worked for me today because I was working, and I'm working from home, so I could just keep it on my phone and every 5 minutes check in and reset the stage. And I was doing that all day, and it worked for me. So if it works for you and you're able to take advantage of it, and you're the type of player that wants to focus more on PVE than PvP, uh, I highly recommend that you utilize this. I mentioned the mirage that I was going to come back to later on. A lot of players have Spike because Spike is very good for arena, and he was also featured earlier on. So a lot of players have him, and Spike with the mirage accessories is a nightmare to deal with. So basically, Spike already gets immunity when his health goes down, but he might get disabled or something right at the very beginning of the fight. And if he gets disabled, even when his health goes down, he might just be disabled for like more than half the duration of his immortality. So if you pair that with this removes the disability and gives him an additional immortal. So what I did with my Spike when I have this is I put him right at the front, right at the front. So hopefully an enemy Rudy or something attacks Spike, and he gets disabled right at the beginning. Oh, I have to fight a boss now. He gets disabled right at the beginning, and I basically uh, like I already pop off an immortal almost at the beginning of the fight. And then once that wears off, 3 seconds in, 6 seconds in, whatever, and his health goes down, to like 10% or whatever's remaining, then a second immortal pops off. So it basically lasts quite a long time, and it's very annoying to deal with. Like I had a huge win rate so far in arena after I put that on Spike, and I put Spike back into my team. So hopefully it's something that you can utilize as well and start taking advantage of. Um, but anyway, I'm going to stop talking now because I've explained my strategy, and you probably don't want to watch this like 10-minute fight while I'm talking. But yeah, this is what I do when a boss spawns like this. I have to manually control my Karen. Um, Something I want to mention though is, like, as I'm saying, this is working for me where I'm using two attacks and one tank, but maybe you are at a much you're not where I am, and your units are not well developed, so you have to go a lot slower. I still find that this stage is easier for you to do than the 3-star stage. So even if you're not using the composition, hopefully you can use the ideas that I said, and that this is just an easier stage to do if you can come and reset it every like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Um, so hopefully this video helps, and it gives you some ideas on a different way of progressing. I don't want people to get stuck and be like, I can't do the 3-star stage, and so it's really hard for me to progress. I can't do anything. So hopefully this gives you a different way to progress and look towards the upcoming PvE content. That's it from me for now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Take care now. Bye.